guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, hey girl, my name is Kiki. I like to prep the eyebrows using a loose powder, and then I just brush the product through. I like to mattify the skin before I go in to pencil them in. For her eyebrow pencil, I'm using the Benefit 4.5 pencil. I'm going to lightly do a line on the bottom and top, tracing in her eyebrow shape, and then I'm just going to fill in the hairs by doing hair-like strokes. So she naturally does have full brows, so I don't have to do too much. I'm just going in and making sure that the brows are going to look as even as possible once I conceal them. Once I fill the brows in, I go in with a little bit of lash glue just to lay the hairs down. And then I'm going to start with the concealer. I'm using Born This Way concealer. I'm using a mix of butterscotch and cookie. And I'm just going to take my Shop Miss A concealer brush, and I'm just going to do like back and forth, short back and forth motions to get my line as straight as possible as I carve the brow out. And I'm going to use the same concealer shade on the top of her brow as well. And I like to hold my brush to the side so that the flat edge could get me a nice straight line. Once the concealer is on, I'm just going to use a fluffy synthetic blending brush to blend everything into the skin. I'm going to go in with my Helen E. Directly on top of that, I'm going to use my P.LOUISE Acid Rain, and I'm using the shade Nitro, and I'm just going to pack that onto the lid and slightly bring it upwards. Now I'm going to go into my Globe Academy eyeshadow palette, and I'm going to use the shade Click. I know my palette is busted, y'all. Don't judge me, child. Yeah, I'm going to go into the shade Click, and I'm going to blend that just over where we placed that blue base. I'm kind of tapping it on, but I'm making sure to bring my brush back down as opposed to blending upwards, because I don't want the yellow to get too crazy. She has a good lid space, but I don't want that yellow to be directly underneath her brow. And yeah, I'm just gonna work that yellow in, making sure to blend downwards because I want the yellow to dip into the blue. And I'm gonna go back in with a little bit of that base. And I know it can be very intimidating working with wet and dry products, but trust me, like with practice, it'll just be second nature to you. Now I'm going to go into the shade All Star, and I'm going to pack that in onto the P.LOUISE. So I'm just going to pack that blue on to the lid and into the crease, and I'm going to meet that yellow. So my color wheel tells me that blue and yellow makes green. So I dipped into a lighter blue in the palette, and I'm just going to pop it in between the yellow and the darker blue to get me a nice green, which is going to help us have a nice gradient pretty blend. Then I'm just going to go back in with a little bit of yellow. And a lot of what I'm doing is literally just back and forth. If I feel like I want more green to show, I'm going to add more of that light blue to blend it into the yellow. If I feel like my lid is kind of getting lost, I'm going to go back in with my lid color and pop it in. I'm just going to add some of that light blue really close to the lash line just to give us a gradient effect. At this point, I didn't know I was going to add any glitter, so that's why I was doing little detail stuff like this. But if you're going to put glitter on top, it literally does not matter. And I'm going to do the same exact steps on the other eye. And keep in mind, the more that you do blend in between that blue and that yellow, the more green you will have visible. So now I'm just going to add a little bit of concealer around the eyes just to clean up the space a little bit. It helps me get a better idea of what the eye is going to look like once the face is done, just by having a little bit of concealer under the eye. So now I'm just going back in. Like I said, if I feel like I want to amplify that green, I'm just going to go back in with my blue or my yellow to do so. Now I'm going and I'm adding lash glue to her lid so we can pop some glitter on, and I decided, of course, to just go with a like teal blue chunky holographic glitter. You can literally do like so many different glitters. You can do like a iridescent one. As long as it has like a blue undertone, it'll work out, but I decided to go with this one, and I'm just gonna lightly pack that glitter on. I don't want it to be too heavy, and I still want a little bit of that shadow peeking through. I'm gonna clean the residual glitter up off of her face. I'm gonna do a wing liner. Didn't know I was going to do a wing liner, but here we are. And I added the lashes off camera. For skin prep, I'm going in with the Bobbi Brown Enrich Cream. And I'm going to just work that into her skin. If I see any glitter laying around, I just take a spoolie and gently scrape it off. For foundation, I'm using a mixture of Tahoe from NARS as well as Cafe from Becca. And it's a really good match. It's slightly darker than her, but that's okay. The foundation more so matches her body. The inside of her face is a lot lighter than the rest of her, but we're going to work that all out. Don't you worry about it. For the outside of her face, I use MAC's NC 45. And we're just going to take our Instapop cheek brush, and I'm going to blend that foundation in. Obviously, I spreaded the foundation on her skin nice and thin, so I don't have to worry about moving the product around. The product is already where I want it to be. I don't want to say I did a thin layer, but this is my version of a medium coverage. So yeah, it's not as much foundation applied as my previous video. Just want to give you guys, like, you know, a little bit of versatility, child, okay? Because everybody don't always get a full coverage over here. Then for her contour, because I don't want her contour to be too dark, really, I kind of just want her to be like bronzed and blushed. I'm gonna go in with the Born This Way concealer in the shade Toffee, and I'm gonna use that on her forehead, cheeks, and a little bit on the bottom half of her face near her chin and jawline. And I'm also gonna use that to contour her nose as well. To deepen up the contour just a little bit, I'm going to go in with e.l.f.'s bronzer putty. I freaking love this stuff. It's so versatile. So yeah, and I also went in with Butterscotch from Born This Way to work as a bridge in between our contour and our concealer. And I'm just going to take the Ultra Precision foundation brush, and I'm going to use that to blend out my contour and bronzer. Alright, so to blend out the concealer, I'm going in with my Real Techniques under eye setting brush, and I'm going to start off with the chin, forehead, then I move on to the under eye, and we're just going to pat, tap, press it into the skin, honey. You just want to mesh it with the skin. Let the skin become one with the base, okay? And yeah, this is what we're looking like so far. Now I'm going to go in to blend in the concealer on her nose for her nose contour. Now for extra va-va-voom, because you know we love a snatch under eye over here, we're going to add a brighter concealer under the eye. We're going to add some e.l.f. cream blush to the cheeks, okay? Because it's giving spring, honey. It's giving spring. So we got to have the cream blush. So yeah, we're just gonna work on blending it out. I'm here just making sure that my contour is as blended out as I want it to be before I go in to blend the blush into the skin. Went in underneath the eyes with my beauty blender, and then I went in with an even smaller brush just to make sure that there's no extra product in the creases and lines, because we don't want it to look cakey now, okay? So once I do that, I go in with my setting powder, and I am using the One Size translucent powder, which is Chef's Kiss Honey. And I'm going to put that underneath her eyes, chin, nose, and forehead. Then I'm going to set the rest of her face using the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish Powder. Now we're going to go ahead and get back into our bronzer and contour. So we're going to make sure she's nice and bronzed up. And I'm using the Juvia's Place Zulu palette to do so, because y'all know that has me in a chokehold. Like, how many years has it been? Like, that palette is just that girl, and that brown, she gonna go on every client face. She gonna be everybody bronzer over here. So yeah, once I have her nice and bronze, I'm just gonna take some powder underneath her contour line so that we can get the cheekbones to pop. I'm gonna go in with my Sephora Pro Contour Palette and use the pink blush out of that. And this is what we look like so far. Now, to line her lips, I'm going to go in with the e.l.f. bronzer putty, the same one we used on her face. This stuff is so freaking versatile. I love it. You can use it contour, lip liner, eye base, eyeliner. It's just, I love it. So I'm going to go ahead and spray her face down with the Morphe Continuous Spray. And then I'm going to go in her waterline with the same cream base that we used on her lid. And I'm just going to lightly try to blur it out. She has really sensitive eyes, so I didn't want to do too much. For her lips, I'm going in with the discontinued product from Glow Up Academy. I'm sorry. But if you have it, then girl. And if you don't worry. It'll be back. It'll be back by the end of this year. But I'm going in with a beautiful, like, it's like a really light peachy nude matte lipstick, like a velvet matte, because it doesn't dry down too matte. Anyway, we're just going to give her a nice muted nude that complements her skin tone. That's all. And I'm going to lightly go in. See, her eyes are really sensitive. So if you tell your client to sniffle, their eyes will not run. But yeah, I just lightly put a little bit of blue underneath her waterline. Then I'm going to go in with a light beige out of the same palette to put in her inner corner. I don't want the inner corner to pop, but I just want it to look slightly vibrant. And we're going to finish up her nose contour by setting it with a powder. I actually just using a light eyeshadow, a light brown eyeshadow out of the same palette. Now I'm just making sure everything is nice and blended. We're going to spray her down with the NYX Matte Setting Spray. Add mascara off camera. And this is what it looks like. You guys, how do you feel about this? Do you love it? Do you like it? Do you hate it? I hope not. But yeah, I love this look. It's so spring. It's so like pretty and bright, but it's not too much for the girls that are kind of scared of that drama, you know, like soft glam, but it's still extra. Anyway, I love you guys so much, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.